Well, this is a completely different game. I mean, she's receiving the serve. She's getting aggressive early in the points. We just haven't seen the same Wang Manyu that was in game one because Mima Ito isn't allowing the rallies to develop. Or at least not with such advantage to Wang Manyu.
And see, directly after this good return, Wang Manyu was changing the service, not shuffle service, but side spin, up spin. Main thing is if you play against Mima Ito, don't rush too much, slow down the game, use more spin.
3-2.
You play fast against her, she's using your power against you. So whenever you have the chance to slow down, she might sometimes over-rushing the ball.
And at the same time, there's a lot of pressure. If you slow down the game and the ball sits up just a little high, she's so deadly both sides. She's got a strong flat hit. So again, the touch, the short game, all so important out here.
Main thing is that if you spin the ball, the spin has to be low and the spin has to be very long. That's usually the best way, as Timo Boll is producing.
Right.
Three, four.
The combination of shots there, from taking the pace off the ball to using the long pips for a deeper shot, and then that forehand flat hit. Yeah, Mima Ito goes for the kill. It's interesting considering she has the short pips on the backhand side that she hits such a flat forehand so often.
Good one.
4-all.
Also quite classic with a long service into the short pips in order to know that Mima Ito cannot produce that much power. Actually, she can do quite some high level attacking the ball with the pips.
4-5.
But not as much in comparison to a normal rubber.
Right.
Wang. She seemed to be quite calm, like quite focused, concentrated.
5-all.
And that has been, I feel like just from a body language standpoint and positioning, Wang Manyu, through the first game especially, but she never feels like she's chasing.
Yeah.
Her balance is very steady. She's comfortable to go either way.
Very good. Very, very good. This is like Liang Jiankung backhand. Unbelievable. Very good, very close to the ball. I mean, we talked about it to see how close she's coming with the hand. Even the ball stopped a bit through the pips. No chance of reaching that ball for Mima Ito.
And even the recovery off the top of the net, very cool and collected. And go ahead.
And what impresses me, you see, after the first game was always this shuffle service, and then in the second game, just in the beginning, one good return of Mima Ito, then directly Wang Manyu was changing the service, side spin, up spin, side spin, down spin, and again it's big trouble for Mima Ito as she cannot really control the service of Wang Manyu. Very good.
5-7. 6-7.
And this time, the first time, the shuffle service of Mima Ito, I remember that Patricia Zoya, she had quite some trouble in reading this shuffle service because as the last moment the ball is kicking, and usually you're moving towards the ball, then the ball is kicking against the racket. Not that easy to control that ball. That's the problem when you want to return a shuffle service.
7-8.
And just in case you're curious, the reason I call it the shovel service is it's like you're scooping around it a bit. So there feels to be like a dig on the outside of the ball and the variation with top and sometimes underspin on it as well.
Well, sounds good to me.
All right.
8-all.
Game one, there were a lot more difficulties for Ito with the reading of serve, but it's starting to come back a bit.
Now you see very good how Wang Manyu is touching the ball a little bit on the head of the racket.
8-9.
You see, that's why I'm sometimes not so happy with the game of Mima Ito. Usually she's not changing the speed. She's always going for the speed. It's always go for the ball, it's hit the ball on the table or miss the ball on the table. Yeah?
Well,
Miss the
here I
table.
think is a really good example of where she does actually, take a little bit off, play it soft first at half long and earns the chance to get the finisher.
Exactly. And sometimes, to my point of view, she's simply rushing too much.
Yeah, she definitely is quite ambitious and aggressive, so we'll see. 9-9 here, Wang Manyu with the last 2 serves set of the game.
Good, again, you see this kick
Nice.
service. Actually, we have the same style of service also with a man when, for example, Per Garel is using this service or Anton Kalberg. See how in the last moment the ball is kicking?
Game point.
Should have waited for this forehand, maybe Mima Ito in this moment. Again,
11-9.
same style,
Game one.
same time, kicking in the backhand, waiting that the next ball is coming back to the backhand, and then Wang Mingyu is the first to attack, to accelerate, and Mima Ito can only react. But you see, this service is overtime long. If they let the ball bounce, if you let the ball jump, it's a chance to have a spin going. Maybe that would have been an option for Mima Ito. Sometimes to turn around to wait for the first forehand topspin instead of always receiving nearly all service, all this shuffle service with the backhand.
It's also interesting to see the difference in stature as far as, there are a lot of conversations about people ask, is it better to be tall in table tennis? Is it better to be small? And we don't see any consistency as far as physique, but I think that Wang Manyu in the short game is quite good, and using her reach, that is one advantage of being tall, that you have the longer reach, so if you can keep your balance, it takes a little bit less to get in.
The main thing is, doesn't matter you're tall or you're small, you have to be able to move.
Right. Yeah, my favorite thing to point to is Deng Yaping was under 5 feet tall, and she was, by many standards, the greatest of all time.
Yep. Doing a good job so far. Mima Ito also, she's younger than Wang Mingyu. It's, to my point of view, the more experienced player. Usually I would have expected that Wang was a little bit more nervous, but she feels really quite calm, seems to be quite focused.
One love.
And to add to the different credits that Mima Ito has, along with all her titles in singles and doubles, she did beat Ding Ning, the Olympic qualification tournament last year.
Love 2.
So that's essentially a big sister, the leader of this squad and the most powerful team in the world. So Wang Manyu, it is surprising how confident she is out here.
1-2.
And that's not the first time we've seen that backhand. Very confident, powerful opening backhand.
2-all.
Mima Ito has to find a solution by avoiding this direct service mistake, by avoiding this return mistake, by avoiding also to play every return into the backhand part of Wang Mingyu. Why not to just make her move to the deep forehand, which would be possible even with a backhand? Because you can use the spin in that direction.
Yeah, we haven't seen her play too many down-the-line backhands yet. Which is also surprising considering the percentages right now. Wang Manyu's backhand is so confident and so comfortable, and she has the advantage of the spin.
And maybe this is something really Mima Ito still has to learn. I remember also Fukuhara, she started in a very, very young age, but she needed a time in order to get the tactical skills working.
2-4.
Because now it's 2-0, 4-2. Looks like really with a backhand, she cannot get through Wang Mingyu. So it's about the time to change something, maybe to move her to the forehand, maybe to try a forehand receive. But probably on the other hand, she wants to rely on her backhand because that's the part, that's the diagonal where she feels well with.
I think there's also a sense of, well, this might be a little bit strange to my opponent, but at a certain point you have to realize it's not bothering her.
Yeah. Oh, unbelievable.
2.
So she's trying some things here. She's moved to the middle of the table to change up, try to make her serve less predictable, but for Wang Manyu, it doesn't seem to be a problem at all. And she's turning the corner, too. This isn't the same backhand. This is her playing a little riskier, but no problem.
It looks like risky, but she's not missing right
Right.
now.
Let 6-2.
And for me, I also wonder would have been an early timeout possible, because once Mima Ito is 3-0 down, I'm not sure. Oh, very good timing there. Waiting in the deep forehand, did you see? Moving together, one leg together with the hands, very nice timing. We can see here, you see the right hand together with the right leg. So that's accelerating a little bit more against the topspin of Ito.
2 bounces on the table. This is another thing that Pips can be used for, taking the pace off the ball. So clever, confident touch shot from Ito.
Nice.
The step around forehand is one thing that I want to see more of from Mima Ito that seems like it might at least put a dent in the game of Wang Manyu.
Yeah, and you know, like, one thing that is also special about Mima Ito, she's not using always the topspin. She's smashing. She's trying as early as possible to smash the ball.
Right, yeah.
Eight, 4.
But from this backhand, at this moment at least, Wang Mengyu is far away. It's one class different to my point of view.
Yeah, she's moving it quite well from backhand straight to the middle on the elbow. Just moving Ito around a bit.
That's the way, and that's the first time she really went to move her into the deep forehand there. We can see here in slow motion, directly there. And there also Wang Mengyu losing a bit of her stability. You cannot do this 10 out of 10, but for sure you shouldn't do 10 out of 10 in the backhand part.
Five, 9.
Doesn't seem to be too happy, huh?
Tough to be at this point. Little help off the top of the net there for Wang Manyu. You know, as far as positivity, we've got 5 game points against Mima Ito for being down 0-3.
11,
this one just
5.
so late.
Game 1.
Yeah.
This idea is the right idea, but it's very difficult when the ball's already on its way down to hit it inside out. You know, the reason I brought up the positivity thing, when you said she doesn't look so happy, a lot of the Japanese women, you'll see that they practice nodding their head up and down. Whatever it is, they try to come back into each point feeling positive, and as simple as it might be, the physicality of it could bring you into the point with just sort of a good energy and help your chances.
I mean, on the other hand, we shouldn't forget Mima Ito is 15, 16 years old, so it's, well, very, very young still, and so many things she has experienced already. So, to my point of view, what is the problem right now? She feels a little bit like her regular way of setting up a game is not possible right now, because the backhand Wang Mengyu is simply better, and at this moment the creativity is not around in order to find a way to get the game even close.
Normally, Mima Ito has a lot of different possibilities. When we talk about creativity, I mean, the violin receive, the backhand, I haven't seen that once out here, and not to say that it's easy. You've got half-long serves coming deep into the backhand corner. That's usually when it's a little shorter, more middle of the table is a better opportunity for that. For Ito, she's, I think, stepping around for forehand, sometimes even spinning the first ball before the flat hit.
Exactly.
And there's a nice spin shot with the backhand side. And as punchy as she is on both sides, still she can choose to make a spinny loop with the short pips on the backhand.
Yeah, because the movement there was a little bit like topspin movement, not the straight attack as usually she's using.
And good focus there, watches the ball all the way to right off the back edge, just missing long.
Lob 3.
So this is a bit more of a safe punch. going the distance, but still getting aggressive with just a little bit of height on that serve from Wang Manyu.
Yeah, and the service is a bit shorter. Before, the service from Wang Manyu was getting half long, and the shorter service that is jumping a bit high, it's easier for Mima Ito to attack.
3-1.
Right, she has a clear decision when she sees those bounces. This is a perfectly half-long serve, causes some hesitation on the receiver.
Very good,
3,
very good.
2.
You know, usually you say spin is coming from the wrist, speed is coming from the underarm and the rest of the body, but the way Wang Manyu is using the wrist, it's really like textbook play in order to produce this extra spin. Very, very good there.
2-4.
And much like Marcos Freitas had to stay focused on playing out of his comfort zone, right now Mima Ito gets a very spinny ball in and it sits up just a little bit. She knows she has to go back to her specialty. That flat hit, she plays with a much higher percentage than most attackers you see. Occasionally a defender will come in and flat hit like that.
3-4.
She's trying, I believe. She's trying, but to my point of view, would have been maybe a little bit easier in just like move Wang Manyu into the forehand, push into the deep forehand, not to try to win through her backhand. As you see here, then Wang Manyu, even she's getting a bit under pressure. She's able to play the ball diagonal. She's playing the ball down the line. You will see here in slow motion. 1, 2.
Timeout.
So here is the timeout. It's saved for game 4. You know, when we were talking about the timeout around 5-2 in game 3, it seemed like it might be a good time, and then suddenly it was 7-2, and at that point you start to feel like it's too late.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, with a timeout, it's always something special. Some players, they like to take all the time the timeout by themselves. Sometimes the coaches, they take the timeout a little bit earlier, a little bit later. It's a little bit of philosophy behind. To my point of view, especially when you play against a player where you are maybe the underdog and you are maybe up, even in a best-of-7 game, you're up in the first game, let's say 10-5, 10-6, and it's coming to 10-8, 10-9, then why not to take the timeout really early in order to secure this first game?
It's funny you say that. I'm seeing more and more, you know, timeouts taken earlier and earlier, from personally when I'm competing to watching on the World Tour. People seem to really have a new philosophy about the value of coming into the game with the confidence and momentum, that taking the early games, much like the early shots in a rally, are the most important early games in the match.
Because, you know, might be, I've seen quite some games change even after 0-3 down. But once you are 0-3 down, the percentage is also really going down. So a timeout might be even wasted. We will see.
Yeah.
Maybe Mima Ito is coming back, then it's the commentator's curse.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time. I guess
Four,
Han Ying,
four.
right, in Germany. She was down 0-3 against Han Ying and got 4 games in a row.
Yeah, true.
5.
Here we
Service
go.
there.
4.
The shuffle serve. Now I'm saying shuffle too. The shovel serve with topspin to the forehand side. Good length on the serve too to get a defensive receive.
4, 6.
Nice change, varying it up with the spin and the placement, more to the middle. And Wang Manyu moving over to the forehand side. She comes in for the banana and is caught in the middle of the table with a push on the backhand.
So timeout really worked out in favor of Mima Ito.
First 2 shots right on. The third shot, not a bad idea. It looked a little bit floppy for a minute, a little bit loose.
Usually you say twice fast is not that easy in table tennis. So after this fast straight ball would have been easier to follow up with a counter spin. But she prefers to play these straight shots, and that's not easy to produce 2 times in a row.
7, 5.
Now, when you think about how difficult it is with such a flat shot, look how low that serve is, but still she plays it fast, not even to the length of the table, right into the body in the middle. Very aggressive and very precise, flat darts of shots from Mima Ito's backhand.
It's because her wrist is really fast in this way.
Outstanding focus from Ito to play the corner so many times and still bring it back from the pips. As soon as she gets Wang Manyu to step out and cover the wide corner, she's backing off the table here. And that's the one that sends her wide.
And she started with spin this time, not only with
5,
smashing the ball.
9.
Right, her second ball was a little softer, as you had just discussed. It's like she heard you.
It's 9-5, so timeout really did work well.
Six, 9.
Difficult balls, but we are seeing a bit more control and patience from Mimi Ito. It's a fine balance. If she can do one and then follow up with a fast shot, but it's tough when she gets pinned into the defensive position.
9, 7.
You know, if she would have hit that ball on the table, we would have said, whoa, great shot. To my point of view, no need to risk that much. Because this ball, she had total control. She was close to the ball. She could play it short. She could open the ball to the middle.
10,
Here we go, that
6.
long kick serve, giving Wang Mengyu a taste of her own medicine here.
Exactly.
It's the Pargarel, the Anton Schellberg, and now she's got 3 game points here to get her first game this match.
Let. 10, 7. Eight, 10.
We see a lot of self-coaching. I think, you know, we talked about experience and how while Mimi Ito is still young, she has been on the world tour actively for what feels, I'd say, about 3 years now.
Yeah.
She's had a lot of experience. And even emotionally, I've seen her develop and change and mature in certain ways. Now she's on the receive, though, with 2 game points left. And there it is, first game for Ito, an aggressive receive. The percentages were so good for her. Such a high percentage in the backhand punching receive. I think she's going to have to look for that wherever she can.
One key for sure was the batter receive, and then on the other hand, Wang Mengyu had more troubles in reading the service of Mima Ito. You said like she tasted her own medicine. Actually, it was like this: 2 or 3 direct receive mistakes from Wang Mengyu. And then Mima Ito was back in the game, and we never know. You mentioned that before against Han Ying when she was 3-0 down. Maybe she makes all her way back. You see now again this old school, so no iPad used.
The old school pad. The O-pad.
Yeah.
And that's Coach Matsuzaki there, Mats-san, who's been with Mima Ito together for as long as I can recall, as long as I've seen her on the world tour. It's interesting that they're both with the notebook, right? He might be referenced. This could very well be the exact same notebook.
Yeah.
Mima Ito's notes. Ai Fukuhara is another one you mentioned, not only in style of play, but also in style of focus in the corner with the notebook. It's a very almost Zen-like personal reminder. You know, I've seen people, Ariel Shing of the United States had a little writing on the inside of her hand, I believe. And wrist, maybe.
And I remember Jim Courier, former #1 in tennis, he's reading in between in a book in order to keep his thoughts gathered.
Yeah, technique is whatever works. Yeah. Wise friend of mine used to say.
Very nice. I think very nice setup from Mima Ito in the beginning, but the backhand of Wang Mengyu is really strong. You see here, accelerating. Very spinny, very controlled at the same time.
Right.
Love 2.
This serve a little bit more out on the forehand side doesn't allow Ito the confidence that she's had to punch it with the backhand. So nice adjustment from Wang Mengyu on the serve, but it comes right back. Same thing.
They have more and more trouble. Getting 3-0 up. The feeling Wang Mengyu had not so much troubles in reading the service of Mima Ito. Now it's a bit different game altogether.
3.
This is somewhere between a forehand flip kill and a loop, or the flat shot that she's been using. The length of the table, she just doesn't have the legs that she normally does. It's a bit out in front, a little bit wild.
Yeah, and the ball stops a bit there.
Right.
That was smart. Just a change the service, same movement as before, but instead of producing kick, maybe you can see here. Yeah. More downspin. And now kick.
When 5.
And whenever you get too close to the ball, too early to the ball, then you eat the kick directly.
Well, you don't have to deal with the ball jumping as far or wide, so it's easier to control as far as racket placement. The spin is still very much on it, and as you mentioned about the eating, it jumps off your racket.
Nice reaction.
6.
Nice reaction, and Wang Mengyu is moving also very well, also from the middle. We can for sure see here in slow motion. Nice reaction.
7-1. Eight, 1.
Starting to feel a lot more like game one. Very steady opening backhand, the placement of the serve here. And Ito tries, so part of me was thinking if she can take the ball early on the receive, but when there's topspin, if she's trying to play it soft, it's going to be very difficult. There we go, the step around forehand.
Yeah.
Since game one, we've sort of been wondering when we would see Mima Ito get that shot into play. A bit more spin here. It's only her second point, though.
Because she can play, but she doesn't want to play. That's the difference there. She wants to rely on the backhand, and you see this. I'm very, very impressed what Wang Mengyu is playing there. Not only with the backhand, but how well she's kept with the focus, how well she's moving. She was turning around, producing an extra spin with the forehand.
2-9. Nine, 3.
A little bit of side swipe there on that receiver early on in the match, or the game rather, the point even.
Yeah.
Yeah, just putting a little side spin on it to mix it up to get into the rally. And we're seeing some variation in the shots here. From the backhand, a little bit of side spin again.
Exactly, to slow down the game a little bit. I'm not sure if she did that on purpose because she was just reacting. But still, whenever she's moving Wang Mengyu backwards and forwards, that's the chance of Mima Ito where she can also win rallies, not only in playing fast.
And this is what we talked about for any foreigner, meaning non-Chinese player against one of the top Chinese players, is change of pace and breaking the rhythm. The best chance any non-Chinese player has against a Chinese player. Now we've got the timeout for Wang Mengyu. Yeah, that one point where you said you weren't sure if it was intentional, Mima Ito forced to cover the middle, chose to use the backhand, which created this uncomfortable shot. But the rhythm breaking has been quite effective so far.
Yeah. And she usually has to feel this, not only relying on playing faster and faster, but sometimes slow down the game, give him a little bit different spin and a little bit different speed. Not only play faster and faster.
So, Richie, as a coach with years and years of experience under your belt between the women's team, the men's team in Germany, being sports director, head coach at WSA, from a preference standpoint, timeouts earlier in the match, I don't know, what's your personal...
In the beginning, I was not so sure. Meanwhile, I'm sure timeout earlier. Because timeout's too late, it's wasted. Yeah, so I prefer to waste the timeout before really earlier to set up the street. If you take the timeout sometimes too late, I think it's just like the last chance to come back. I wouldn't prefer that. I would always go to have the early timeout, let's say 1-0, 10-6, and it's coming back to 10-7, 10-8 to secure a 2-0 lead, because then it might be a totally different game and totally different match altogether.
Right. Well, relatively early timeout on the Chinese side. And with a lot of firepower right out the gates from Ito, Wang Mengyu seems a bit more comfortable, slows down the game a little bit, and Ito, like you said, very ambitious, maybe a bit overly aggressive.
Load in altogether.
But a well-placed serve, just barely drifting off the back edge, saves a match point for Ito.
That's now two service of Wang Mengyu.
Right, with 4 match points. Too much
11,
struggle. Nice
6,
combination. Short to the
21,
forehand. Brings her in. Deep to the
21,
backhand and finishes the match
4,
11-6 in game 5. Ito taking just one game, but Wang Manyu too strong and comfortable, looking quite solid in this tournament.
Well deserved this 4-1 victory. To my point of view, I'm very impressed. I think Mima Ito tried too much fast and faster. On the other hand, Wang Manyu did a really impressive performance and deserved this 4-1 win against Mima Ito.
So there you have it. Wang Manyu will move on to the women's singles semifinals. Stick around, we've got another match coming up in just a bit. Here are the scores for you, and we'll be back with another match right after this.